Hi, it's Dr. Zina from Diversity House. Welcome to this podcast. We've been discussing different topics related to what we see around us. We discussed cybersecurity, digital inclusion, well-being. Well-being in particular was really interesting topic because we were talking about how we take care of ourselves and what we do to maintain our well-being. And then we talked about what Diversity House do to help others maintain their well-being. Before we delve in into today's topic, I have the honor to have Teacher Joy here and my colleague Charles. So if you, I'll invite you first to introduce yourselves to the audience, and then we start. Yeah, Teacher Joy, tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Joy Ozobia. I'm a retired teacher, and I have been working on Fridays at Diversity House as well, helping the service users who come who need some further education, making my further contribution that way. I've been a teacher at a secondary school for more than 10 years. I've also taught higher education and prepared a lot of students for the university as well.
Good. And what are your hobbies?
And my hobby, so I love writing.
Nice.
I love writing, traveling, and cooking. Cooking without recipes. I just love to look at the food and taste it and invent it for myself. So those are really my areas.
Good. Yeah, brilliant. Charles, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Charles Omomehin. I'm a cybersecurity analyst and IT tutor in the Diversity House. Yeah.
And what do you like doing in your life? What do you enjoy doing?
Okay, so I'm a lover of the tropics, yeah, and the nature. So I like to go to the beach sometimes, chill. I love to read books, self-help books a lot. And yeah, I'm into photography as well on the side. So I love to take pictures, good pictures, yeah.
Nice, nice. That's good. Okay, so today we are going to talk about bridging the gaps um, between. We are going to explore from our lived experiences and what we know, the situation and the interaction, the communication between parents, students, and schools. Um, so it's an exploratory podcast. We are just exploring the issues or the education in UK schools nowadays. First, we are going to talk about the role of parents, and then let's start by exploring first the role of parents. Then we move to students, then schools, and the last point is let's suggest or talk about what kind of communication should be between these three parties.
Mhm.
So, yeah, let's talk first about parents. So, Teacher Joy, what can you say about this?
Well, I mean, parents obviously they play a great role in the upbringing of their children, education, the informal part of education. I mean, some parents do invest in formal education, like homeschooling and that sort of thing. But mainly the education of the child begins at home, you know, and they need to be taught the basics, how to interact, social interaction, how to communicate, um, how to um, how to feel well in themselves. Because at the end of the day, we want to be looking at a well balanced and holistic child. And it comes from that security, that love, that security, that sense of belonging, that knowing who they are in society. It starts from the home. And we cannot emphasize enough how important that is in the general education and upbringing of a child.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. home is the most critical phase in any student's life.
Yes.
And I agree that parents or students are first influenced by their parents.
Yeah.
Before they go to school, they are living with their parents. So it all starts at home, as you said. Um,
I think that before we move on, when we talk about parents, we need to clarify that also includes caregivers and foster carers, any guardian who's playing the role of the parent in a child's life.
yes. Can you go in detail about this?
Well, yeah. Well, some children are placed in care for one reason or the other, or for a short time, or some for a long time. So I think when people talk about, when you hear the word parent, people think about the traditional form, biological mother, biological father, but they're not solely the ones who are involved in the upbringing of the child.
Yes.
So it is important to stress that um, integration, that continued education, and integrating the child into the society and making them feel comfortable, know who they are. It's the job of everybody who's in charge of caring for that particular individual child.
Yes. Brilliant. Uh, Welcome, Adi Kole. He's joining us now. That's brilliant as well. Um, yeah, my question now, um, does this mean that children's education is defined by parents' education? Or what do you think about that? And this question is for everybody. So, Charles, you can jump in as well. Adikule, when you're ready, you can.
Charles, are you taking this one?
So can you repeat the question there, please?
Yeah, we're saying that parents have huge influence on students.
Yeah.
And my question now is for discussion. Does this mean that children level of education is defined by their parents' level of education and environment and background, or there are exceptions there?
Okay, so I would say the parents, the kids are more influenced by the parents before anything else. You know, but whatever, like I used to remember my mom always saying something. She said, "Charity begins at home." You know, so I know whatever a child is going through or whatever actions the child displays is definitely something that they have seen from the home, from the family, you know, from their own space where they grow up. So how can parents bridge that? Is, I would say, one, it should be proper communication, you know, proper communication, and also trust, you know, and I think the major important role is communication. If you have a better communication with your child, and not just being, you know, how will I put it, not just being so, yes, you can, the Bible says if you spare the rod, you spoil the child, but at the same time you don't want to be so violent with it, that sometimes that you just want to sit down and, you know, talk to that child, communicate properly, and let them, so that it's not so that they don't fear you, but they respect you as a parent, and then they can share everything they go through, everything they see with their friends. They can, like, communicate with you. So yeah, communication matters, and through that communication process, you get to build trust. You know, yeah. So I think it mostly happens from the home before anything else.
That's brilliant, Charles. Adi, I remember that you were talking the other day about your role as a parent, and you were mentioning some nice scenarios where you helps your child. Oh, I think connection. Adi, can you hear us?
Can they hear us?
I don't think so. So, yeah. Now to you, Joy. What do you think about when I said does or the education of the success of the student at school, is it defined by their parents' level of education, um, yeah, and background? What do you think of this?
Okay, first of all, I just want to add a little bit to what Charles said earlier on,
Yeah.
that it is important for there to be, for the child to feel secure and confident enough to be able to communicate, to talk to their parents about whatever they're feeling, and not to feel intimidated, and not to feel afraid. Because if they have that comfort, that comfortable trust and environment, that nurturing environment that allows them to be able to talk to their parents about whatever is going on, it is very vital. And that leads to your question. Can you repeat that question again so that I can then feed into?
Yes, since we're saying that, and we agree that parents are very important for
Mm-hmm.
the education of their students.
Yeah.
My question for discussion is: does this mean that there is that the success of the students and how well they do at school is defined by the level of education of their parents? And yes,
Well, yes. I mean, yes and no. The level of the education of the parents, it plays an important role, but it doesn't. It's not exclusive, because if you have a parent who's not educated, for instance, my uh, mother had very basic education, but she had that love for education. My mother, as I was saying, had very basic education. So back home in her time, it was what they call standard six, it's like primary school, you know. But she had that love for education, and she invested that in ensuring that she supported the school in ensuring when the children have work to do, when the children have to get to school, the children are well fed, the children are clothed. She communicates with the teacher. So she invested in the child being invested in the education. If you understand what I'm trying to say, she didn't have that educational ability to help me with homeworks, complicated maths, and the rest of it. But she made sure that what she couldn't do, she found someone who could do it. Now, but if you're educated as yourself, obviously it makes it easier for you to be able to understand where your child is at, and how you have the skills to help them to access whatever part of education they're trying to access. But again, it's not a re-educated person who has the time. It boils down to actually making the time, whether you're educated or not, to invest in the education of your child, making sure that their well-being is catered for, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And it starts from home, before the child leaves your home to enter the school or any other educational premises that you're sending them to.
yes, that's true. Um, and the question I asked it, but I have my intake for, as you said, your mom was not educated, but she knows the importance of education, and
Exactly.
that's the point where she pushed her children and motivated their children to do well at schools. Um, yes, and we see some successful people around us. Their parents are illiterate, but they are doing great. And this brings us to the second point, which is we focus on students. What is it there in the student that made them brilliant at school, successful, um, even though, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, their parents are not, they have not degrees and they didn't go to universities, but still they are successful. They are doctors, lawyers. Yes. So what is it there? What do we need to invest in children, like the independence? I don't know. This is a question for discussion and exploration. What do we think?
Charles, so is Ade on? Because I don't want to monopolize everything that's going on.
Adi
Or
is not on. His connection, I think, is not.
Dr. Zina, sorry,
Yeah.
can you please repeat the question here?
Yeah. I'm saying we see around us successful people, well-educated people, doctors, lawyers, but their parents are not educated. They didn't go to higher education. They don't have degrees, but still these people are successful. I'm saying now, what is it? What are the traits that we need to have in our children so that they get.
Okay, so just as Mrs. Joey said, yeah, she said our parents, our mom was not, she doesn't have like the highest level of education, but she tried to ensure that things she couldn't do, right? She got someone to do it. And probably that must have involved her, you know, probably paying for a lesson teacher, I assume, to do it. So and I'm sure most parents of those successful people would have gone through that process. Yet they don't have the idea, they don't know how to do the complicated maths, they don't even know about the university work. But every effort that they put in, their resources, yeah, the prayers, the time, all those things dedicated into that child's life, you know, led to that success. I mean, so you don't have to be the most educated parent alive, but once you can teach your child to be resilient, you know, you try to like inculcate good morals into your child,
exactly.
confidence, keep telling the child to be positive. Yeah, I didn't have this, but I believe you can have it. You could do better than I did. I will support you through the whole process. So basically what everyone needs is for someone to believe in them, and to support them. And just being able to support your child and believe in that child would definitely take that child far. Even most parents, some I don't say most, but some parents who are even very educated and they don't have time for that child, some of those children end up being failure, and they are successful. So what matters is you having that time to support, believe in that child, dedicate your time, and your resources towards that child. Just being there for that child definitely lead to success of that child. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Creating that environment where the child feels confident to come to you, no matter what the problem is, they can come to you and talk to you, and you have to make the time to listen to what the child's needs are, and to try and help them as much as possible to resolve it. And there was something that we talked about the other day as well, about where I come from and where you come from as well, Charles. The the child, the upbringing of the child is not just for parent, caregiver, carer, fosterer. It's a community. It's a community thing, and that's what we lack. We tend to lack. I find is lacking in the Western countries because of the busyness. I can't imagine if you go to a smaller African community where a child is done something wrong and somebody walks past and doesn't speak into that child's life. It's acceptable. So, oh, are you not the child of so and so? Why are you behaving in this way? Don't do this. So children go out and they think we can't, we can't really just run wild, and because there's bound to be somebody out there who knows us, who's going to either speak into our lives or report to our parents, and that also helps. So the community should be involved. It's easier said in some societies than it is in ours here. Although I think if you're in certain parts of this country, maybe in the villages or there where everybody knows everybody else, is probably a lot easier. So go back to
Yes, I think we spoke enough about the role of home and parents. Let's now move to talk about the role of teachers. What do we think about the role of the teacher? And also, let's talk about all the responsibilities that teachers have in addition to teaching. Because when you go to school, it's not just teaching, you've got a lot to do as a teacher.
yeah.
And some parents, they don't know that. They just say, oh, I'm sending my children to school, the teacher will do. But they're not aware that the teacher, one of the jobs is teaching, but there are other responsibilities of the teacher. So yeah, what can we say about that?
Well, I mean, you're quite right. I mean, the student comes in, and the government expects us to deliver the formal education. So it's at the end of the day, what grades, what was the performance of the school, and they measure you against that that as well. But when a child walks in, a child cannot access whatever you're teaching them if their whole being is not healthy, it's not well. So it's a emotional, it's a spiritual, it's a health. It's just a totality of the individual child that we have to deal with. So we look at sometimes some children come in and they haven't had a proper meal, for instance. You look at them, they're not. You can tell that their hair is on kept. There's something, the clothes dirty. Something is going on. So we're monitoring that as well. Why is this child when the student starts developing, then there's all kinds of hormonal issues that goes to deal with that as well, and we have them. I mean, during the child's educational period, they're in school longer than they're at home,
Yeah.
and we're seeing this, we're dealing with this, we're coping with this, and we're working with several agencies to see to the holistic development of the child. But when the for instance, if you do something like healthy eating, you do something like healthy eating, or you teach the appropriate age group sex education, or you teach them things like dangers of smoking, keep away from drugs and all that. That's within the school environment. When they go home, this has to be supported at home.
Yeah.
Because okay, school finishes at 3:30, 4 p.m. latest, and the child goes home. The work of the teacher doesn't stop there. We have to prepare lessons, we have to mark, we have to see, we have to monitor, we have to report back, and the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then the child comes tomorrow back to your classroom. And like you were saying before, we said before, we're looking at the parents. If you teach something to the child that they have not encountered at home, it's not going to stick.
Yeah.
For instance, one of the basic things that I teach the children that I taught, the students that I taught from year 7,
They need that reinforcement at home.
reinforcement is very, very important. Basic things like when you're coughing, when you're in a group, even before the pandemic started, we know that we should do this. And when you're yawning, politely cover your mouth. You see them and they come there, woo, oh. I said, no, but don't do that. This child in front of you might not either. And it's all right. But then when you meet the parents, you see that the parents are doing exactly what so what example are you setting at home?
Yeah.
You see, because if we say something and they go home and the example, the behavior that the parents are modeling at home is completely different from what they're taught, the acceptable societal behavior is, then what are you talking about? You're wasting your time.
Yeah.
It's got to be supported. Whatever the school teaches wants to be supported by the parents.
Yeah, everything needs to go hand in hand. Everything needs to align, because if at home they see something and at school they are being taught totally the opposite thing,
Mhm.
the students there, he's a bit confused. What should I do, this or this? Should I
Yeah.
follow what mom says, or should I follow what the teacher says?
Exactly.
So he's in between. If he follows what his mom says, let's say, and it's totally the opposite of what the teacher is teaching, when
Yeah.
he goes to school,
Yeah.
the teacher might say, oh, that shouldn't be done. Yeah, you shouldn't behave like this. Or, and then when he goes home, but mom is doing that. What's wrong with that? Why? But if things are aligned, then the student will be learning in a healthy environment.
Exactly. Exactly. They'll say it's healthy at school and healthy at home as well. And then that's what comes up. There's a keyword that Charles kept using, communication. That communication also is a two-way thing between home and
Parents
parents.
and teachers.
And
Yeah.
most of the children who succeed are those whose parents are involved with the school and there is a healthy communication both ways. You know, the parent, the child will say, sorry, the teacher will say, so and so is doing so and so, behaving so. Is everything okay? How can we help? Or the parent will say, I noticed that my child is struggling with how can I help at home in order to make our work easier.
Yeah.
These are the children who succeed well. Attend parents' evening, make contact with the teacher, find out how you can help, and don't take it that the teacher is at fault. The teachers have a lot to cope with, just as parents have a lot to cope with. So
Yeah.
both have to see each other as partners.
Yes. Yeah. Even the way parents talk about teachers, we need to look at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even the way we talk about teachers to our children, we need to know what we are saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what mindset we are creating as well.
Yeah. Because we're both there. Parents, teachers are there in order to make sure that we, at the end of the day, have inputted the right skills or help the child along the way of finding themselves, becoming that individual that can fit into society and stand by themselves and contribute positively into the society because they are the future. They
Yeah.
are the future. And they have to do so, they have to enter that future confidently, prepared. But you know, it's not easy, but we shouldn't give up either because it's not easy. And I
No.
think that sorry, I was just going to say that if both sides are pulling their weight, then the burden is easier.
Yeah, you were talking about a very important point, Charles, as well, which is the communication between parents and school and teachers, and the importance of attending parents' meetings.
Mhm.
Mhm. I want you both, if you have any experiences, to go back to your own lived experience and tell us a situation where it's because of attending evening meetings or that constant communication with the teacher and school, you you could help, or you've been able to help your child in a certain way.
Charles?
Okay. Okay. So, um,
Charles, you can talk about your own
yeah,
experience as a
I'm
student
gonna go
and
down.
help.
I'm trying to remember. There's this particular scenario because okay, I'll say this. So there was a time, yeah, and this is where I say encouragement for teachers, goes a long way,
Mm,
for a student. So there was time when I was in school, because when I was in school, I used to represent my school, my secondary school, like essay competitions and stuff like that. So we're discussing about this topic, and we had a midterm break. I was supposed to go home and do it and then come back to school. So I was really, really, really struggling with the whole thing. I kept calling my teacher and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then she will send me educational resources and just to make sure because she's my English teacher, and then I have to like she's overseeing the whole thing, and then she will read it, proofread it, and she will send it down to the district. So and then my mom had to get involved. My mom read political science as well. So she had to like call my teacher And she said, my son is not getting enough sleep, because he's been trying to like write this and get it done. So how can I help? And then she had to like call her, and then she told, then my teacher told my mom what she wanted to do, and then together both of them, and me too. I was like about 15 at the time, and then together we came up with a really nice essay script, and then sent over to the district, which I came, I think, second or third in. So
Wow.
it really went well. So I mean, so getting like you said, getting teachers and parents involved, working collaboratively with students, it goes a long way. It really goes a long way.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. So I'm waiting for you, Dr. Zina.
Yes, it's you, Joy. Now, do you have any scenarios?
Well, okay, that's the child speak that spoke, a grown up one. As a parent, I also I mean as a teacher and a parent. I'm speaking as a parent, and I
Yeah,
think that it's important for parents who work with the schools. Um, I had an experience which could have turned out. My son actually grew up not in this country, but studied in another country where the teacher in this particular case did not inform me that my child, who I know is very capable, was not performing very well in this particular subject. There was no communication between, and my child was going to be penalized for this. And this was he was attending a grammar school, the equivalent of a grammar school, and for them to move to the next stage, you must pass the exams. And he hasn't told me that my son wasn't doing doing well enough, and he wasn't going to allow him to move up. So I said, "Hello, you can't do that." I said, "First of all, you should have given me, the parent, the opportunity to remedy this situation by having a chat with me. Now, this is where communication goes wrong, and you cannot just keep him down without having given me the opportunity to remedy it. And then if having remedied that, i.e., getting extra help, and the child didn't perform, then you have a good reason to do what you're doing." And the head teacher in this particular instance agreed with me. And there was a compromise. I found a way to compromise that my son took summer lessons and that, and did exams, and he passed it, and he was able to move on. So it's very, very important that two-way communication. The parent, you cannot blame the parent if you're not communicating to the parent what the child's needs are from the school's perspective, and also helping them, giving them the tools, or pointing them to the tools that they can help to actually remedy that situation, help that individual child. And it goes the other way as well.
yeah,
For the parent in the school, I think this is happening. What can we do? Is what can we do? And
exactly.
they're not, you are doing this and you are doing that wrong, and that's not how it works. You know, so yeah, communication on both sides is very, very important. And one thing that I wanted to add, as far as the parental contribution also is concerned, and this works for the schools as well, is to actually discover what is this child's, what are this child's skills, or what skill is this child very good at, and trying to develop that instead of pushing them into something that they obviously they have no aptitude for, they have no skill for, and they will never do well at it.
Mm.
And I think this is also something for the general education, how they're going to plan it, how they're going to reform that. Because if we are grown up now, I started off doing things, and then discovering along the way what I really, really like to do. I found out that I've started off to training to be a librarian. Uh, Great job, gave me research skills, but I thought that's not for me. I went and studied sociology. I said, okay, great job, but that's not for me.
Mm.
And then I went to work in a shipping company, and I discovered, whoa, I really, really love shipping and
Mm.
everything to do with the policies and everything. And then I went and studied that, and that's where I discovered, oh, I really, really love law and that as you're going along. But if I had my mother did her best, but if I had the parental input that tried to work alongside you, and then they discovered, oh, this is this child is very literal, this child is very mathematical, this child is this and that, and try and nurture that child along that interest, you find that they'll exceed and excel and do well later on. But that involves time and investment and patience and dialogue and communication with all concerned.
Yes, that's true. Very true. Yeah, that communication, that it's not you did this, you did that, but I love when you said we work together. We are all in this together. Yes. We are all here working together, and communication from one to the other one is what will help.
Yes.
To get what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, we want to talk about also the technology nowadays, phones. Even myself, sometimes when when I finish work and I go on the train, I find myself on the phone half an hour, and I unconsciously from one app to the other app. So not living the moments, not being with the people who are around me, but on the phone. And I worked as a teacher also, and I see students in the school or in the classroom, they use their phones. Some schools, they don't have that policy of phones are prohibited in the classroom, so they are allowed to bring their phones with them. And when you tell them you don't use your phone in my classroom, they start challenging you and arguing with you. So personally, I think that yes, I understand that technology is benefiting us in so many ways, but mindful use of technology is good. But if technology is starting to take over of our lives, started to take over of not feeling that you are living, all what you do is being on your phone, living in that imaginary world, seeing what that is doing, what the other person is doing, wishing that you could live their lives. You think that what's on social media is correct, then we are in huge trouble.
Yeah, we have a technology expert on the podcast today, and I'm sure he will have a lot to say about that. But technology is the way forward. You cannot avoid tomorrow's generation or tomorrow's adults. Let's put it that way. Not using technology. I think it's how that technology is used and when it is used. In the schools that I've taught, they were not allowed to use their mobile phones in the classroom. I think one of the things that you come in and you deposit your mobile phones in a basket, and there are times when they can use their mobile phone to do research and do certain things. But of course, the danger is that unless, of course, I think in the school where I was, even on the laptops, Charles can bear witness to this. They block certain websites so that you cannot access them while you're there. So that you need to use technology in order to do certain things. But is that how to monitor it and to make sure that it's being used effectively? And then when he said, okay, you can take your phones now and go and find out the population of this, they need to use it, because sometimes it's not just you have IT lessons where you go to IT classes, and then what you teach them in IT, you teach them the skills. But in the classroom, I try to utilize that as well. You say, okay, you can, if we don't have access to laptops or tablets in the classroom, you can take your phones and do this, and then you monitor where that person is going. I think some schools, I don't know, Charles, can you block the websites that they can access even on their mobile phones when they're in school?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we do that. So, and then to teach them the healthy use of technology, you know, a healthy use of technology. It's been invented. It's there. God has given people the knowledge to develop these things, and we must use them, but to use them responsibly and safely. And of course, that comes back to the developers of the technologies to make sure that young people are also being protected while they're trying to use it for educational purposes, and they're not being exploited and abused. As we had several cases of that happening. But it cannot be avoided. It has to be incorporated into it. When I was a teacher in the classroom, and you come when you're being observed, they also see how you're using technology to teach the children.
Yeah.
Yes,
I agree with the point of mindful use, controlled use, and healthy use of technology. I totally agree with that. But that's helpful, and we need it. And as you said, nowadays, if you are being observed as a teacher, they need to see how are you using technology.
yes,
And this happened during the pandemic. If we are not um, digitally intelligent, we know how to use them, we wouldn't be able to work on Zooms,
yeah,
teach on Zoom and other Teams and other platforms. We wouldn't be able to use our phones. Even when I was traveling, I could attend meetings in the train because using my phone. So it doesn't need necessarily you need the laptop to do that. So we are intelligent, digitally intelligent,
yeah,
but also we want to be using it in a healthy way.
yeah.
We don't want our children to be from the minute they wake up, they are on their phones until they go to sleep again, and they don't sleep early, and they yes,
That's where the parents come in, then, isn't it?
yeah,
You want to make sure that you have an intelligent, respectful, insightful, informative conversation with your children, explaining to them why. You know,
yeah,
don't impose, don't become a tyrant, because the minute you start becoming tyrannical, they just rebel and go the other way. Work with them, have a compromise. Okay, you can be on your laptop or your computer, but this is the cut-off time, and please respect it, and this is why you should respect it, and hopefully it works.
yeah, yeah. And the time they spend on social media, I am against children at school to have a social media account on Facebook or Instagram or um, recently number one, in my country Algeria, we do baccalaureate exam before you go to university. So it's the hardest exam students can take, and it shows how the student is ready to go to university. So number one, the top student who got like nearly 20 points out of 20 as grade, and that's remarkably brilliant. No one takes that yeah. One of the things he said that he doesn't go on social media. He doesn't have he's 19 years old, or I think 19 years old by the time we do that exam. He doesn't have account on Facebook or Instagram or yeah, and he uses technology, but he uses it for his goals, his purposes. He used it to learn, for example, artificial intelligence and all the technology that will help him to achieve his goals, to be as brilliant as he wants, to go to the university that he wants, to study um, the the field that he wants. It's he built himself in terms of knowledge, experience, knowing exactly what he wants to do, why he wants to do it, why
Mhm.
that particular subject, who are the experts in that subject, who
Mhm.
what would be his contribution to that subject.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what we want our children to go. It's that direction.
Mhm.
Yes, technology is there for you to use, but it's not to waste time.
It's not to waste. Yeah,
It's not to waste time or energy or health.
absolutely. It can be quite consuming if you don't get a lead on it. Um, I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, that the people who develop the technology, the top bosses, they don't even allow their children to be. To,
Yes, that's true. The founder of Facebook, he does not, I've read it somewhere that he does not spend any time on Facebook. He has
oh, I've
some,
seen him on Facebook though. I have seen him on Facebook.
for businesses, for a
Mm, yeah, I've seen him showing what he's done, and maybe even last time when they were doing this, what do they call it, the Halloween? He was there with his wife and children dressed up and all that. But he is the founder of Facebook, so he has to show his face from time to time. The thing is, how you use the social media, how are you using it? You know,
yeah,
if some people use it for business, for excuse me, for business
yeah,
to showcase their businesses, but not to not there to sort of look, oh, how many likes have I got for my post, or to start dissing people, or to start just Trump, what is it called, trolling people and saying horrible things about them.
yes.
And unfortunately, this is how our young people use it to their detriment.
I think that's one thing that we as a suggestion, that should be taught both at home and schools, how to use technology. I know that in some subjects they talk about technology in general, but now it's educate our children how to use even social media or technology in general. What do you
I
think?
think I think they do. Charles, can you comment on this, please?
Yeah,
Okay. So I would say the basic for for children, yeah, is just ideal as a parent. You want to set like screen time rules. This is a specific time that you get to use your phone. And then of course when they get to a certain age where of course they're like 19, 20, whereby okay, yeah, you can't really tell them what to do, but you can only advise them to
Mm.
have like digital etiquettes that you're talking about. You don't want to go online, cyberbullying people. That's a crime. You could get arrested for it. You could go to jail when you get picked up because the person you bully online, for instance, go hurt themselves or commit suicide or anything, you get
Mm-hmm.
picked for it because you caused it. So, and also as a parent, you want to there's something that I've tried to like start from the beginning of this year. I call it less screen, more scenery.
Mm-hmm.
I want to like spend less time on my phones and I want to like see the world more. I want to read books more, go to the beach more, do things with family more. For instance, my mom bakes cake, my younger brother bakes cake. I want to assist them more because I used to love technology so much that I got so addicted to technology because I want to learn the latest trends, cybersecurity. I want to learn what's going on in the coding world, what's going on. But so far I'm trying to like do this internet detox whereby I don't want to spend so much time on the internet. I just want to like less screen, more scenery. And then
Mm-hmm.
also you want to teach the kids cybersecurity. For every child that you give a phone to, you've exposed that child. That's the That's one thing you've done. Immediately you give them a phone, you've exposed them. So you want to teach them cybersecurity, the basic. Okay, definitely they have an email for school. You want to teach them how to create strong passwords, not to share their passwords, not to, for instance, not even about them, even your own phone. You could give a child your phone now, and then they go YouTube, and from YouTube they see an ad. You go to the ad, they click on a link. You're not there. You're sleeping probably. They click on the link, and then boom, your phone get hacked.
Wow.
So you want to teach that child, look, you're holding the phone. You don't want to click on any links. Don't click on any links. You see a link, don't click on it. Whatever you want to do, just do. So you want to you want to embed that cyber consciousness in every child that you have at home. Don't do this, don't do that, don't click on links, don't share your passwords, don't connect to public Wi-Fi's, because kids are like that. They don't want to waste their data. They just want to connect to public Wi-Fi and then download whatever they want to download. You don't want to connect to public Wi-Fi because your phone could get hacked, your bank account could get hacked, information could get stolen from you, and then you don't want to share so much on social media as well. You want to restrict, you don't want to share so much. And then and I think on every device there's something called parental control. So parents can also control what the sites, the website that you feel your children should be going into. There are website trackers or blockers that you could install on a laptop, on a phone, and then they block the website, and then you only allow some website that you feel are important to the development of the child. So and also there's also, like, for instance, they have like exam coming up. Of course, kids will be kids. Kids will tell you, "Mom, I need my phone because I need to do research." They're going to tell you what they want to use the phone for. But there's something we call focus apps. You as a parent, if you install focus apps on your child's phone, on your child's computer, you get to minimize. For instance, they have exam, then you turn on the focus app. You then only you know the pin, and then you set it, and they say you can't use any other apps on your phone, only these apps.
Okay.
And that's the focus app, and then they can't do nothing until when they're done.
I love that.
And
Yes.
Yes, it's a
you
very good
unlock it.
I
And
used
then
it
you unlock it.
myself.
Yeah,
focus.
so
I'm an adult, but I use the Focus app, to a Pomodoro app. When I was finishing my PhD, when you are doing something by yourself, you get distracted, you get bored. So I go to check my phone, or on my laptop I go to YouTube. Or so since I knew about Focus app, and you set which apps, which for example, Facebook, YouTube, you're not allowed, you don't have access to those apps while
yeah,
your Focus app is on. I
I see. I'm gonna put that on my phone as well. I didn't know
yeah,
about this.
Yes.
yeah,
I know we're running out of time quickly, but what I wanted to say, building on what Charles also mentioned, to ask a question, is one thing teaching the children as well about cybersecurity, but are the schools offering cybersecurity knowledge for the parents as well? Because we're saying they have to work together. Maybe schools should be running free courses or lessons in the
yeah.
evening or something for parents as well. Are you aware of that, Charles?
I'm not aware of that, but that would be like a fantastic idea
Yeah.
for schools to actually adopt that, because it's very important. I was on the internet one day, and then I saw a news. Apparently, the child was playing a game with the parents' phone, and he didn't know the parent had Apple Pay, right? He didn't know, and then the game requested for payment. And then he clicked OK, and then about 50,000 pounds was taken from the parent's account.
For parents.
So, so if the parents add that knowledge, and then they know they charge like kids, you don't do no payment, no links, nothing.
Don't click OK. No.
So you need to actually because many of these apps creators, they're very clever.
Yeah.
They're very clever. So they want to make money. They don't care. So, and she's taking them to court, but they're gonna win because it's they didn't steal money.
No,
You
you
clicked to
said
say you
okay.
wanted to pay,
Yeah.
and then you paid. So it's you need to like have that. It's very, very important for schools to like adopt that cybersecurity teachings for parents and
For
students,
parents, yeah, as
teachers in
well.
general.
You
Yeah.
know.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh wow. I'm talking about the pandemic. Pandemic, the positive things that came out of the pandemic was the fact that a lot of people were forced to learn how to
Mm.
use things like Zoom and for me, FaceTime and Charles knows all the name, all these instruments that he can have to communicate with each other, learn and teach. And I trained on a lot of them, during the pandemic because the schools moved then online, didn't they? And I was
Mm.
going to my colleagues, oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to.
Yes. It's lovely also. Yes, and the training, I myself got training on Zoom because I was teaching a class
Mhm.
on Zoom, and it's brilliant how when you start learning how to use Zoom for breakout rooms, for and then you can monitor the students
Yeah,
jumping from one room to the other room. That's
yeah,
and from your home. That's
yeah.
brilliant. Yeah.
It was really yeah, it was a learning period
Yes.
for a lot
And
of.
all the features of sharing board, making your students interact live here. They
Mhm.
can write their answers.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Of course, Zoom is only one of the tools that was available during the that time. But I was amazed, and I thought I'll never do this. So one of my colleagues who's a very young, maybe a little bit older than Charles. Of course, you can. So we had a training, and once you get into it,
Yeah.
then there's nothing to be afraid of, which is the positive side of technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what we want to educate our children to do. So while Charles was talking, I said I raised the point like we want more education rather than controlling, because we cannot control our children in nowadays time in nowadays yes nowadays, because they are exposed to technology everywhere. But when we start educating them why we don't want them to go to this site, or we raise that education, they do things with a purpose, with knowledge, they know exactly, they are convinced, they will not cheat you or as a parent and go and do it somewhere else. But when you just say no, don't do it, okay,
It has to be a dialogue, yeah.
yes, it's
Positive.
that, yeah, it's the way of communicating with children as well and transmitting the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Charles, I like the less screen and more scenery. I really, really love that slogan. Less screen, more scenery.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
good. Okay.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of our podcast.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you for
Uh,
having us.
Thank you for having us.
my
Okay.
pleasure. And yes, I'll see you when I see you.
Thank you.
Bye then. Have
We
a
look
great
forward
day.
to it. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Bye.